Welcome everyone to My Modern Myth, where we talk about how anyone who's on the show is using their mind and body to write the most empowering, the best life story possible. And today we have a special guest, Alex Hamp. Just to give you a little background on him very briefly, like how we met kind of a thing. It speaks to the power of social media. We're going to talk about jiu-jitsu. We're going to talk about his story, but how we met was he reached out to me because I was doing my first jiu-jitsu competition. And I mentioned this because he didn't have to say hi, but he did. And people sometimes give me grief for being on social media, sharing things, asking people questions like, how much attention do you need, bro? Just go train. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's about putting yourself out there so you can meet people, because we're sometimes in an area, and I don't know what your story fully is, Alex, but I know one of mine is feeling like I couldn't find people who spoke my language, who were interested in the same things I was, because my community wasn't able to facilitate that. So I go to social media and use it as a powerful tool. And then people like you reach out to me, and others have as well. And I'm like, wow, my tribe is forming. And that's the most beautiful part of social media. So that's why I do it. It's not for attention. It's because I can't do this alone. And sometimes I need to go to social media to share a message, share who I am, so people like you can find me, and then we can develop this thing called a relationship. So welcome to the show, Alex. I'm glad you're here. And we'll start there.
I started in the music industry and at a pretty decently young age. And I played for a band called War of Ages for about 15 years, traveled the world. And that's kind of like my story. I just put everything that I had into the music industry and playing drums for, I can't even explain how many hours a day that I put into it. And I had a friend that I met along the way. He told me to come over his house, and my now professor, he was at the time a brown belt. As you know, that when you become a brown belt, you're still just I wouldn't say hobbyist or, whatever, you want to call him, just a coach, right? But when you get your black belt, you now are a professor, which is pretty cool with the rankings. So now I get to call him professor and not coach anymore, which is fun. But when I went over there, he demonstrated a choke on me. And I remember just looking at him and I went, is it that easy? He just goes, yeah. And I was like, do it again. And so he did it again. And I remember looking at him and I just said, all right, we'll see you Monday. And so that Monday we showed up to his gym. I personally did not get on the mat that day. I had all anxiety. It was something new. I don't like trying new things when I don't think I'm going to be good at it. And so my wife got on the mat and she was already like fighting off a headache, but she got on the mat because we're there. I told her that I needed to stay off the mat to watch our 1-year-old that was on the ground sleeping. That was like my excuse. And my son that is now 7, who was 4 at the time, was on the mat prior. And my daughter she's 11 now. She was 7 years old. And so she was on the mat. And so they did kids class. Then my wife was out there doing that. And I'll just say that the ride home was not the ride home that someone would want. That ride home was, the fuck you thinking? Why would you make me do this? And I'm sitting here like, she's like, I don't feel good now. Like, I'm not happy with you for not getting, like, she was really upset with me that she just went on the mat and got her bell rung for an hour. And there was no like lightly bringing her into it. She was the only girl. So she was just basically like thrown in the mix. She would just, usually you don't do rounds your first day. A lot of times they make you just watch. Well, my wife did rounds the first day and got sorted pretty quickly. Oh, no. So it took me about 2 weeks to get on the mat. And when I got on the mat, within 2 weeks, I completely threw my back out. And it really bummed me out because I thought this was going to be something different than what it was. So I remember looking in the mirror going like, wow, man, you are so out of shape. Like you got issues. And that's about when I started my company. Absolute Aid and a company called Seek to Do More with my closest friends. And we started to change so much about my life of, getting healthier, of like eating better, going for walks because I could barely walk. Like I got up to almost 300 pounds. And I was like, what the frick is going on with my life? So pushing myself and, getting my health in check and whatnot really, really, really changed my outlook on how I was going to approach the game when I came back. And the one thing I can say was I showed up almost every single day and I sat on the bench and I listened and I asked questions from the side. Why would you put your leg there? Like, wouldn't you be afraid to getting it snapped? Like, I don't know what I'm even asking. I'm just asking questions because when the coach says any questions, 95% of the time, no one says anything. And it's like, just ask questions. Like, you don't understand, like your question could just completely change your outlook on the way that an entry to half guard would be. And I just started asking questions, going home and writing it in my notebook. And 10 months later, it took me 10 months, I came back and I told my coach that when I come back, every day that I hit the mat, I want him to take me to waters that I have never seen before. So my first day back, there was tears met with a lot of things. And I went to the bathroom, cried a little bit, went back out on the mat, got smashed more. And it's a very humbling sport, to say the least. And it doesn't matter how good you think you are, you're going to meet that guy one day that makes you the plastic hammer and you think that you're always the hammer. And then you go in there just getting beat by a nail. And you're like, what the frick? I should be better than this guy. And he's got you timed today and you're getting submitted left and right. And so everything changed for me. And I was about a year and a half. No, sorry, not a year and a half. I think I just got my blue belt when I saw you doing your first competition, or I was about to be a blue belt or something like that. It was around that time. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I saw your post and it was just like really random. I was just kind of like scrolling through and I just seen it pop up and I was like, he's looking at the game wrong. And so I messaged you and just said, no, you practice, you do this stuff. And I just gave you some advice that I was given. And it's not that I thought that I was better than you. It was, I was, let's say, 8 months in the game longer than you. So my technique or look of the game was just slightly different. And so the advice I gave you wasn't anything like buckle down harder, be stronger. It was just like, have fun, look at the game differently, like trust your training, play your game. Don't worry about going, man, I'm going to try this arm bar. It's like, well, have you practiced it? No, then why throw something you don't even know how to finish? So stick in your game, and then that's where your confidence lies. So it kind of changed our friendship immediately. And then next thing you know it is where it is now, 8 months, 9 months later, here we are doing a podcast together.
Yeah, man. I think it's funny though, because I think you got your blue belt when I joined jiu-jitsu. So we had this really weird parallel starting point that you pointed out, where I was like 6 months in when I did my first comp and you were 6 months into your blue belt. So, you were very humble in that idea of like saying, I'm not like a master of this, but I have more experience. And it doesn't matter if someone has 10 years or 2 years on me. If they have humility and they have compassion and care, I'm receptive to it. But, sometimes we get that filter that says, well, you need to be this, you need to meet this criteria. Otherwise I'm not going to listen to you. And, my wife is experiencing that in her life sometimes, where she's incredibly hungry to learn and she's going to ask questions like you. Yes. All of the questions in the world. I want the answers. I am hungry and answers are my food. That's very mature. But after 2 years of that, she's gone beyond what people in 10, 20 years will learn because they just stop learning. Mm-hmm. And so people won't take her word for it because she only has 2 years, quote unquote, in the field or whatever. And that's a frustration. But I'm very open to someone who has knowledge. I want to listen to your story, and maybe not everything's applicable. I can only go two times a week. You can go every day, or that's good for you. Good for me is going to be different. But then your experience of getting smashed or wanting to go to those deep waters is unique to you and other people. I know we're not all snowflakes that are so individual and very unique, but we have different paths. So I think there's freedom when you're not forcing me, because you didn't force me like, bro, if you're not on at least 3 times a week, you're not going to make progress. People will say that. And I'm like, but I can only do 1 or 2 right now. Otherwise my back injury from the war, my TBI, my headaches, and like, I have to take those into consideration. But I think good friendships are built around saying, hey, this is the way I did it, but here's the core value. Here's the dedication. Here's the absolute aid. Here's the seek to do more method, which is simply meet yourself where you are and then figure out the next right step, which is why we have a lot of synergy, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And it's funny that you said that, because that's the way that I still approach the game. You know what I mean? Like, I might be, now a 1-stripe blue belt, but it's like when I step into the gym every single day, I bow the same way the black belt does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have every thought in my mind that it's like, I don't care if I can submit the new dude that came in. It's like, what is that? What did that prove? That I can submit someone that doesn't know what I know? Like, cool. But it's like, I approach the game is, what could I learn from him? When I move like this, what does he do? Okay, when I roll with the purple belt or 3-stripe blue belt and he moves different than me, well, what is he doing that I can't capitalize? Because in reality of jiu-jitsu, it's human chess. Your mistake becomes my advantage. And so my job is to capitalize on all of your bad habits. And you can't, and if I'm better than you, it's because you can't see my bad habits. So when you go against a black belt or a purple belt you're a white belt still. So it's like, when you're going against a blue belt that knows more than you, it's just, he's seeing your bad habits. So as he turns to his side and you approach him, he's like, he doesn't know what, like, not in a mean way. We're like, okay, I got this, because you have already approached me wrong. So he already knows that he's going to get the underhook in because your arms are, so far out. And we're just capitalizing on you. And it's, if you notice this, a lot of upper belts, when you roll with them, a lot of times they're not smashing you. They're working with you because they already know that you don't know enough. They're just putting you in angles and stuff like that. Now that I'm a blue belt, the game changes, and a lot of people don't understand that. My first 2 weeks of being a blue belt, I felt like I was running around an abandoned house getting hit by baseball bats. and it's funny because a white belt doesn't understand. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It's, you just don't know. I barely even know. And I'm a blue belt and I still don't know. But the white belt is the belt of survival. Now I'm in the stage of just escaping the onslaught that's coming. Now I know I can survive, but how long can I survive? But if I don't escape, I won't survive. So then it goes right back to a white belt. Like, I'm still in the belt of survival. But it's funny that when you roll with upper belts, they basically run around your house closing all the doors and all the windows, and they're hiding behind one door of the hallway that they led you down. And you go out this door, and next thing you know, you're just getting blasted. And you're like, where did that come from? Like, not okay. Like, this sucks. So,
dude, sometimes it feels like there's no other choice but going down that door, that path. Like, I don't know what else to do. I'm walking right into a trap, aren't I?
I know,
I just
right?
have no idea what's going to get me.
1 second. Hey, there's nothing you need, sir. Okay? We are all busy in here. Okay? Thank you, sir. That was my oldest. That one's a beast. That one scares me. He turned 7 years old in June, and yeah, he told me, like I told you earlier, he started jiu-jitsu at 4 years old. And at 5 years old, he woke up in the morning right before school. It was a Wednesday morning, and he told me, because we homeschool, my family homeschool, so that's why we're able to do jiu-jitsu whenever we want, as many days a week we can, 2 a day, some days. And when he turned 5 on Wednesdays, he goes to school, and he woke up and goes, thanked me for taking him to jiu-jitsu, which I thought was really random. He's like, opened his eye, he goes, thanks for taking me to jiu-jitsu. I really like it. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm glad you like it, buddy. And he goes, I'm going to be a world champion. And I was like,
all right,
okay, cool. Be a world champion. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't know how to get you there, but that's where everything changed for me mentally. Do I want you to show my son how to be great, or should I show my son how to be great? I need to. I'm the dad. I don't need another father to show him. But what I can do is show my son what I feel greatness looks like and do everything I can to represent that. And then I bring other greats around him, and they will take him up because they're taking me with them. So it looks like dad's great, even though I have no idea anything about jiu-jitsu, but I'm trying. But these greats will take him to the level that he needs to be. And now it looks so much different to him. So I told him, hey, if you want to become a world champion, you need to tell your coach. And so Wednesday night, we go into practice, and he proceeded to tell his coach that he wanted to be a world champion. And he says, do you know what that means, son? And he goes, no, but my dad said it takes a lot of hard work. And he was takes a lot of hard work, but if you're willing to try, I'm willing to help you. And he goes, okay. And he goes, it starts today. So you need to put your big pants on, and you need to understand that your practice today will determine if you're going to be a world champion or not. And no kid came to practice that day besides my son. No one came, which made it even worse for like me. And so this is a hard conversation. Golly. Gotta be real.
It goes that way sometimes. Take your time.
Oh, sorry about that. So he told him that he was going to get him ready, and he had to prove that he wanted to be a world champion. Because if he can't prove it, then we won't be able to build to it. So I was like, I don't even know what that means. I've never been a world champion. Yeah, I traveled the world in a band, and I did that decently successfully, right? And so here I am at jiu-jitsu, sitting there watching my son stretch out, get ready for practice as a 5-year-old. And in the sport, everyone knows what a sprawl is. So if I say, do you know what a sprawl is? Of course you know what a sprawl is. So those who don't know, you are in your grappler's position, and if someone shoots into your legs, you put your hands on their back or on their shoulders or to the ground, and you throw your hips to the ground. You throw your legs all the way back, hips to the ground, you shoot back up into your grappler stance again. And that's how we practice sprawls. So after my son was warmed up, I didn't notice that the coach put a timer on the clock. And he told Troy to go to the middle of the mat. And when he says go, he had to start doing sprawls. And he was already tired. This is probably like 30 minutes into class of doing drills, doing warm-ups. I mean, Troy's already sweating. He's tired. And that's when he started this. He looked at me and he goes, if you don't want to be in here, you don't have to be in here. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know what that means. So puts the timer on the clock. And I just thought, again, 2 minutes doing this drill, take a 30-second break, 2 minutes, by the end, a 10-minute drill. That's not what was about to happen. So he told him, when I say start, you start, and you do not stop, son. And I was like, you got this, Bubba. Started 10 minutes on the clock. And as soon as it counted down, 3, 2, 1, 10 minutes hit, and he goes, sprawls. And I was like, dude, that's pretty crazy. Still don't know what's about to happen. And about a minute in, Troy starts to slow down. So here I am like, Bubba's, you got this, Bubba's, you got this. Let's go. And I'm cheering him on. And he starts to slow down more. He starts telling coach, this really hurts, coach. He's 5 years old doing sprawls, but he's not going slow. He's going at a pace that he picked, and he's not allowed to change the pace. So you got the coach is like yelling at him, pick up the pace. You're slowing down. Do not slow down, son. You need to keep the pace. Go, 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 yelling at him, screaming. So I'm like, dude, I got this. So I bow, I get on the mat with my son, and I start doing sprawls with him. Back's hurt. Like I'm still not on the mat. Like it's not November yet. So I'm still like, my back's still pretty sore. But like I'm seeing him break a little bit. Like he's getting nervous because like, I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking that my son's going to do this for 2 minutes and then like take a minute break, 2 minutes, whatever, like I said. And so coach is yelling at him, sprawl, sprawl, sprawl. Keep that pace up. I don't want you to stop, son. You keep going. You keep going. 30 seconds in, I look up at the clock and I'm like, there's 8 minutes left. And at that time, the coach says, you don't get to stop. You still have 8 minutes left. And then my mind was like, yo, I don't know anyone that could do the pace that he's going right now and do 10 minutes of sprawls. Like, this is crazy. Like, is this okay? Like, is this abuse? Like, my mind is like not computing what's going on. And so I don't know what to do. So I start like cheering him, like, Bubba's, you got this, breathe through your nose. He is now just like bawling his eyes out. Like, if anyone is a father, when your kid is hurt, when your kid is just sad, when your kid's just upset, like, and that there's this one cry your kid has when he's scared. And it's like that gut curdling, like I am freaking terrified. I hurt myself and I don't know what to do and I'm frightened. And that was coming out of my son and I didn't know how to take it. So like I start getting emotional because like I don't know what to do. And the coach is looking at me like basically like either you're going to stay on the mat or you need to get the F off the mat. Like there's nothing you can do. He's mine right now. Like he wants to be a world champion. And that's all he kept yelling. If you want to be a world champion, you got to fight through this. And I'm sitting there thinking like, bro, he's 5 years old. So I walk off the mat and I walked outside and I'm pacing outside because I don't know what to do. And I am like losing it. Like I'm upset because I'm watching another man break my son in front of me. And I don't know what to do. So, man, it's rough.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I knew that I needed to go back inside. And it was like my mind was like, okay, go in and just be like, hey, like he's 5 years old. He's 5 years old. Like let's calm it down, right? And when I walked in the room, I remember looking at the clock and there's about 2 minutes left. He hasn't stopped. He's still in there because I'm seeing him through the window and he's just like ripping it. And he's going at a decent speed. And I'm like, okay, he's doing this. What do I do? And I remember him standing up and looking at me, and he took this huge deep breath, and he just let out and he just started ripping it. Like for straight 2 minutes, boom, 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 boom. It didn't skip a beat to a point that like, I was like, damn, dude, like what just happened? Like, what did you just do? I saw a young kid start up thinking this was like, cool, I'm going to do this, to I'm scared, to I am frightened and I'm being yelled at and I'm being told that I'm not allowed to stop. And I don't know, I'm scared and I don't know what I'm supposed to do because if I stop, am I going to get in trouble with my dad? Is the coach going to yell at me? Is there more punishment? He doesn't know what's going through his head and he's scared. To our coach broke that and then rebuilt this this like monster out of him. And next thing I know is he's just ripping through, and he just all you hear is beep time. And he's like, that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. That man right there is a world champion. That's the world champion right there. From that day forward, when my son shows up to any gym in the United States that we've ever been to, even competitions, he's the first one on the mat. He's in a corner stretching out. He doesn't joke around. He's there for a job. He's there to be a world champion. He's not there to be like, I just want to get good at jiu-jitsu. He's there to destroy. And so when you see him on the mat, like he's the only 7-year-old over in the corner stretching the other kid, you want to play? He's like, no, I'm not here to play. If you like get too crazy during practice or during drills, he'll tell you, like, he's like, me and you'll do a round today. And then he'll talk to the coaches like, hey, I want to roll with him today. And he will just rip you into pieces because it's a serious thing. Like, he doesn't take the game like other 7-year-olds. It's really crazy. But like, I got to see that. And so seeing that completely changed me because I was like, well, I got to be that guy. I have to be that. And so, man, I'm on that mat every freaking day. No one cares if my arm hurts. No one cares if I didn't get sleep last night. No one cares if my allergies are bad. And so I show up and give it everything I have. Every single day I'm on the mat. Every weekend we're getting privates. We're just on the mat nonstop. And when the private's done, he doesn't want to leave the mat because he's like, well, that was a private. Now I have to practice. It's like, what kid says stuff like that? Like, cool, my private's over. Cool. Well, can I take the dummy over there and run over what we just worked for the next hour? Like, says no one. Doesn't even say, like, when I'm done with my private, I want to go home. Like, cool, man. Like, I'm tired. Not him. He's like, cool. Well, we went over this guard entry. Cool. Well, I'm going to run it over 100 more times with the dummy. Like, he's just different. And so that's got me fired up in jiu-jitsu. And I think he's one of my biggest reasons of why I have to show up. And to see that in him is why I messaged you. The reason why I love the sport so much is because of what I saw happen to my son. And it's like, if my son can look at the game that way, why can't we? If my son can just love the game, why can't we? And so that's why, so seeing your post that day, I was like, man, like, if it wasn't for, our coach to, basically break my son to give him that mental edge, I don't think my son would be who he is right now, because he just wouldn't be. There's no way that, like, he had to break him. You have to break that mind knowing that nothing can stop you. It's only you. You tell yourself to keep going. You know what I mean? Like, you have to move. Pressure's on you. Cool, move. Escape. Get your butt out. So, I don't know. Sorry, I got a little emotional. It's a hard subject to talk about.
No, never. I mean, I don't like people apologizing for their emotions. I think we all need to learn how to allow them to be, but not be controlled by them. So,
Yeah.
I never apologize for that. I think it should have been an emotional story. I can't relate to that because I haven't experienced it, but it does, in different ways manifest in my life. But it makes me think about a few things. The interesting thing, there's several interesting things that are coming up when I listen to that story. And that reminds me of basic training for myself, and where you had to get broken down to become this soldier. Like, I agreed to go as an 18-year-old boy, man, whatever, to become this man. And I'm curious, from your perspective, is this something that is in you or it isn't in you? And you have to almost go to a place where we're going to find out in 10 minutes if you are this world champion or if you're just a hobbyist.
That's a hard one, man. And this is where it can be really, really controversial, in my heart and in my gut, I believe that men are protectors. That's what we were here for. Like, like if we all believe that Adam was first, right? Adam was first, and he was made to name everything and protect. And then he was gifted Eve to complete him. And our main job is to what? Protect Eve. So I believe that every man has this monster, or I say monster, but I say monster loosely, like this fight that's inside them. And if you understand that it's a scary thing to let loose, but if you can let it loose and then go, I can control it. But if you need me to let it loose, I'm bringing all hell with me. And that's where everything changed. Because like he was scared. I was scared. And it's weird that like I can go to any gym and I can roll with anyone and there's no fear. It's just like, I know what I know. That's it. I might be able to catch you. I might not be able to catch you, but I know what I know. And why would I fear you? You know more than me. Great. I'll tap early. If you're trying to hurt me and I know that you are, I'll just tap early. And if you don't and you hurt me, that's fine. You'll have yours coming then. Like not from me, but like it'll happen to you and you won't like it because someone knows. Like it's a very give and take kind of style that if you're known as the herder or the punisher, someone better is going to come in and like they'll punish you. And you'll be like, dude, yeah, homie like wrecked my knee, took me out for 8 months. Yeah. And it's not that he did it on purpose, but he knew that you didn't know your way out and he cranked it because you were hurting the white belts that knew nothing and you were a purple belt being tough. Like the white belts don't need enforcers to come in and beat them up. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know what they're doing. Like a 6-month-old white belt is going to beat the doo-doo that just showed up. Yeah, you guys look at them as like shark bait and it's funny to see, but it's like once you get past that, it's like, dude, they're here for the same reason. If you beat the hell out of them, they don't want to come back. There's a difference of bringing the beast out and then beating the person up who's never even understood the beast is in them.
Yeah. And I like what you said. Controversial it is. It shouldn't be. I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at a man as in some way core of his heart being a protector or we need to be seen as wild. We need to be dangerous. We need to we all want to have someone look at us and be like, holy hell, that dude is nuts. Or, don't mess with him. That's like, I feel fantastic, because I want to be that. And I also feel the arena in which we can let that out has changed over history because we don't have saber-toothed cats. We don't have as many predators coming at us in the traditional sense. So we have jiu-jitsu to keep that fire alive and to keep that, because it's confidence. It's a monster that's controlled just like emotions. They all have a place. So if I have that fire and I understand it and that doesn't burn me because I have it, contained within this arena, but I don't get so far away from it that I forget that I am a monster or that I can be monstrous if the situation calls for it, is vital for my own sanity. And there's only so many world champions, and I know about myself that I'm not a world champion. That's not my goal, but I want to make sure that I am as trained and proficient as I possibly can get. And I think that's an individual journey, and we should celebrate all of those journeys and figure out how we can all take the journey and limit the restrictions to that. Because I won't say everyone should do jujitsu, but I feel like that could be a situation where I'd like for you to at least find a combat sport so that you can develop that in yourself. And I want to pivot to this other thing you said really quickly because it was a very important moment. You talked about how we approach things. And what I've been finding out is the way we approach anything in life is how we approach everything in life. And so when I go into a role and competition, I felt bad because I was beating this person really well and I wanted them to feel like motivated and confident, but you have to like restrict that kindness from the situation because we're not here to be nice to each other in this situation. So I wonder if you could kind of talk about that idea of maybe from the monster to the, hey, I'm a nice guy until I'm not, and how maybe this has helped you and maybe how it helped your son understand that part of our feral, vicious nature, but also being a compassionate, loving man.
Absolutely. Right before I jump into that, I want to say this. There's a bodybuilder guy. He's a huge name. His name is Branch Warren. And he says that hard work will beat talent any day. And it's like, if you want to be a world champion and you say, I want to, and you put in the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears, you'll beat someone who's naturally good. Because if you're willing to work harder, you will get way better. And it's like, and people go, that's not true. And I go, well, Kobe sucked at basketball. He went to a camp and never made a point. Came home and told his dad that. I didn't score, I'm done. He told his dad he was done with basketball. He wasn't going to play anymore. And his dad looked at him. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, I didn't score any points. And his dad goes, okay. And he goes, no, Dad, I mean nothing. I didn't make a layup during warm-ups. Like I didn't make a bucket. One bucket for 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Never made a basket. Free throw shot, nothing. He was like, I'm just done. And his dad said to him, it doesn't matter if you make 1 point or 100 points. I'm going to love you the same. It doesn't matter. And for some reason, he says that those words to me sparked everything. And he goes, from that day forward, I looked at the game differently. I noticed everyone could dribble with the right, but couldn't dribble with the left. So he started dribbling with his left more. Then he noticed that when he did this, other kids couldn't do this. So he made them go to the left hand and would steal the ball. Then he started working on his layups. Like, he started picking apart his game and worked harder than everyone else. And now Kobe Bryant is who Kobe Bryant is, known as the hardest worker in the game. Yeah. They never said that he's the most talented. They always said he was the hardest worker, which in result became one of the GOATs because of his hard work discipline that he had. So I just wanted to end with that. I thought that was really cool, that I believe that everyone can be a world champion, but are you willing to put yourself through it?
Sure.
Now, going to the question that you asked. So my approach to the game is like this. When I go to practice, I am fine tuning everything. Every practice I go to, they tell me that, oh, you should bring the dog out. Always bring the dog out. Well, if I bring the dog out, how do I know what I'm working on? Because I'm bringing the dog out. I should be in habit flight mode, letting my natural talent come out. Well, where is my talent? I'm only a blue belt, right? So I approach the game when it's new guys who don't really know what they're doing. I don't even submit those guys. Those are the guys that I'm practicing, stacking moves on them. I look at them, I go, okay, well, with this guy, the way he's approaching me, I'm going to work on my single leg takedown, and I will not take him down any other way. I will only single leg take him down. From there, when he hits the ground, instead of going straight to side control, I'm going to back out, and then I'm going to X pass, or I'm going to enter his guard with one knee up, one knee, I'm going to approach him. I'm going to knee slice. I'm going to get to side control, go north and south, spin all the way around, get to mount. Like, I'm putting this expectation of myself that I should be better, and I will play my game and do exactly these moves. And I do them all, and I go to submit with, let's say, an X choke. So I get on top of them, and I go to drop down. Right before it happens, I let go, and I allow them to escape. Now, as they're escaping, it's a controlled escape. So I'm watching him escape, and I'm going, what side did he go on? How did he push me away? What did I notice when he pushed me away? Now that changes, going, okay, so then I roll, and now I put him in my guard because he swept me, which was good. I mean, not that I let him, he muscled and we rolled, and I have him in my guard. Now I'm like, okay, from here I'm going to scissor sweep him. So I scissor sweep him, and I pull him back. I go back to mount, and I go back to the X choke. I'm practicing my entry on the X choke. That's all I'm gonna get him on. X chokes from guard, X choke from mount, X choke from I'm working on one specific choke. So after I can hit that 3 or 4 times, and I know that it's okay, I got this. Now I'm going to go to the next step up, 1 or 2 stripe white belt. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now I know the game will change because he has a little knowledge that when I approach him, he's going to put a knee shield up maybe, or maybe his foot will meet my hip. So I'm not going to go for a straight ankle lock or anything like that. I'm still going to stick to my game plan. It might change the way that I enter his, his guard retention, the way that I'm going to enter and back out an X pass. Maybe I'm, maybe I'll do a teleando pat. I might change it up, and so I might enter real quick with my shoulder in his gut, or I might turn into I'm going to throw my knee on his belly. But the way that he moves will change. But I'm still going to end with the X choke. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm still practicing a very specific thing. And now I hit it on him. I am going to finish him because he should know better. He's not in there for the first 2 weeks. He's been here for 6 months. Yes, I've been there for November will be 2 years, but still, he should know a little better now. We've gone over the escapes from him. Now, after that becomes good, I do that for about a week or two. I go to the next step up. Like, I'm not avoiding rolls with the bigger guys. I'm just not doing these specific things because I'm sharpening them right now. So now I approach the 3-4 stripe white belts. These boys are about to be blue belts. Like, you've seen 3 stripes go straight to a blue belt because it just happens. The game just starts to click. So here I am now going against these higher level white belts that do know better. But guess what? I still have not changed the game. I am going to still take them down. I might do a collar drag this time, drop down, boom, and pull them down to the ground, go to S mount because I pull them almost into my half guard. I come up and do an S guard. I take their back, turn them. I want to get to mount. So my back take was just basically a silk screen for them to be like, he's taking my back. I wanted to get to mount so I can X choke you. But you think I'm going to go this, and this. You don't realize that I'm setting something else up because I'm baiting you because I know what I want to go for. So you think, oh, dude, he's going to go for a Kimura or maybe the arm bar. But you don't realize that I'm already pulling my thumb and I'm using my head to focus on your arm that I'm pushing down to the mat. But you don't even realize that I'm already got under your chin. So as soon as I let the arm go, boom, I'm around your neck and I drop. And now you're like, what the frick? I didn't even see it coming. Now I'm going, I got it. So now I take that and I go to the blue belts. All my level. Now, can I successfully knock it on blue belts? If I can successfully knock it on blue belts, I know that I'm onto something. Like, okay, I'm confident. I know I can do it. Now let's see what we can do to purple belts, brown belts. And can I get a compliment from a black belt? If I can get compliments from the upper belts, I know that my game has finally changed in that sequence, that submission, that I am able to solidify my positions because they always say position over submission. Get to a position that you're confident in, work because you're confident there. If you're confident, it's going to be harder for me to get you out because you're confident. If you're not confident, it's broken quick. So then taking all that information and going to a competition. When I step into a competition, my mind is completely different. I do not like talking to people. My approach is, you have now entered my world. We're not friends. Fuck you and fuck the chariot you came in on. I don't care. Like, you're not my friend. I don't know you. You're not my teammate. Like, you're nothing to me. You're just an obstacle trying to take my throne and my gold. Because I believe in my heart that me and my family are kings, that we're royalty. So when I show up, you're trying to take this from me. And I have to show you that you can't. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I have perfected and sharpened my set of skills that when I go and do this, I'm so confident in the routes that I can take that you can't stop me because I can knock them on purple and brown belts and it's almost on black belts, which means that I have it. So you are thinking I'm going to go for X, Y, and Z, but you're like, you're already in my path. You've already allowed me to do A and B. Because I got A and B, I have now built the confidence and you're chasing me. You're no longer in front of me. You're chasing me down the hallway and you don't even know what door I ran into. So now you're opening up the doors, trying to find your way out, looking for me, and you open up the wrong door and I'm about to rip your head off. And do I go a little extra? Absolutely. I'll break your arm. And I'm not being mean. I'm not looking to break your arm, but I will throw the submission on there as fast and as hard as I can. But I will let go quickly. Like I hurt a dude on my first competition on accident. Like I grabbed it and I threw my elbow in to go for the arm triangle and he was like, tap and I let go. And he just kind of looked at me and he's like, whoa. I'm like, you good? He's like, yeah, man, I was just quick. Thank you for releasing quickly. And I was like, oh, absolutely. Because I'm not here to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
But when we shake hands, I'm going to kill you. Like that's what goes through my mind. This is war. It's either you or me. Like you're done. And so looking at my son, like my son's even worse. He won't, like kids will talk to him and he doesn't even acknowledge them. He'll just be sitting there like this. And the kids will be standing in front of him talking to him. And he's just like this. And you'll just see the kids look around and just like walk away because he will not talk to you. He's there to do one thing, and that's to win. That's the fight. He's having a blast. Like if he loses, he's like, meh. He's upset, but it's like, it's crazy because like he loses and it's hard. I lose and it's hard, right? He shakes the other person's hand. He says, hey, thank you for showing me, thank you for teaching me something today. Shakes his hand, gets his second place trophy. He's upset because he didn't get first. And I'm like, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm not happy, but yeah, I'm okay. And that is the attitude of a champion. He didn't take his loss out on the other kid because he won. Don't take his thunder. The kid beat you. What did you learn? You shouldn't have put your arm in there. You exited and left your arm in there, which you got arm barred. And you didn't keep your elbow tight. I didn't. And so you got caught with an arm bar. You're right, Dad. Well, is that your fault or his fault? My fault. I was like, what are you going to practice on? He goes, escaping guard. I'm like, there you go. Like he got caught with an arm bar in a competition. What happened? He left his arm in there. When he exited with his arm out. And he needed to be on the waistline. When he exited, if his arm was gripping his belt, the young man's belt when he exited, it would have been a different deal. But he had up by his collar. And so when he got it out, his arm was right there. So the kid just turned his hips and went for the arm bar. So he lost. And was he upset? Yeah, he was pissed, but he shook the kid's hand, told him that hey man, you did really good. Thank you. And that right there is the difference. So that's how we approach the game. We're not there to be friends with anyone right now. We're there to put work in. Now it's fight time. This isn't practice.
No, that's fantastic. I think that that resonates with me, and it makes me think about that switch that we're talking about. How dogs can go hindbrain, handle their business, and then get back to friendliness after whatever happens, versus people who stay stuck on that for hours and days and weeks at a time. The ability to shift is a vital piece of this puzzle. So tying it all together, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's self-development, seek to do more, everything is geared towards making yourself able to do more. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if you could just, talk us through that a bit, where all of this stuff is built to sustain your efforts because you have all this passion and fire. You're a champion, you're a king, you're royalty, and now you're building everything in your life to sustain that vision, that mission, and that ability, and you're now helping others do that as well. Can you maybe go over some of the stuff you're doing and what your hope is for the people that you're helping?
I've always got this passion to help, right? I love helping people, and I love people just when they set a goal and they do it. And my business partner, I mean, just recently, like he wanted to farmer walk like 325 pounds for half a mile. That was like a goal. He was like, I'm going to do this every single day. I mean, he works out every day. I do jiu-jitsu every day. Like we set these goals in front of us, and we go for it. Well, here it is 10 weeks later. On Sunday, he took that weight and he did a half a mile run with it. And if you want to do something, like what are you going to do? Make the plan, right? And so I'm going to start with the king thing, right? I had a dream before my son was born that Troy was sitting on a throne. He was 4 years old. He had long blonde hair, which my son has long blonde hair, but he was sitting on a throne and he had like these cloths on him, and it was all gold. And, we just had ultrasounds. And the funny thing is Troy was going to be named Achilles. My youngest is named Achilles, but Troy was going to be named Achilles. And my wife was like, she's the one that brought up the board. And I said, man, that works out perfect. And she goes, why? And I said, I had a dream and I saw Troy. Like, he looks like Brad Pitt from the movies. And she's like, what? I go, like, he looks like Achilles from the movie. Like, he looked like a baby version of that. She goes, really? And I go, I seen him. Like, I seen my son at 4 years old. It's weird. And she was just like chuckled about it. About a week later, she goes, I don't want to call him Achilles. Let's name him Troy. And I was like, okay, well then let's name him Troy Alexander. So, the city of Troy is one of the greatest cities that's ever lived. And then Alexander means great. So basically I set my son up for greatness. And then I went further. I told my wife that I don't want to raise little babies. I want to raise kings. And so my wife took that so serious that she started reading books on tribes and villages and the way that they bring up children in those villages and how it's done and all this stuff. And like, I didn't even know that she was doing this. She took my vision so serious that she started reading that. So going even further, my wife both of our boys were born at home. She did home births because that's the way that it was done then. So she brought these boys into the world the way that kings should be brought into the world. Like, there was no special treatment. It was basically go over to the stump and get your baby out. And so to see my wife do that was insane. And so I'm trying to grab my thoughts again. Sorry, it's just like, to think about it all, it's nuts.
It is.
So, he was born and he came out with blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're just like, whoa. And I remember holding him, like my wife, the baby comes out, and within like I'm watching this happen in my living room in front of me. And I'm like, this is crazy. My wife is trying to get out of the pool and they hand me the baby. I'm not going to get too graphic, but it was like, I'm like holding on to this fresh baby and he's just looking at me and I'm looking at him, and my daughter is in her room asleep and our roommate is asleep in his room. Like, this is all going on in the living room. And then so I'm holding him. He's like really pretty. Like, is this what babies are supposed to look like? Because when my daughter came out, she was purple. Like, this is crazy. But with Troy, when he came out, I remember holding him and I was like he's like a little hunk, like a little hunk of man. So we nicknamed him Hunk-a-Man. And from there, I told you the whole king thing. So I told my wife that it's time for us to start treating our life like this. And so we started making changes like, hey, our house should be remodeled like a kingdom. So we started remodeling our house. Then we sold it. And I said, every king has land. So we just recently bought in the past year, almost 10 acres, a little over 10 acres. Okay. And we're gearing up in the next year to start building our house, but we're preparing our property to live off our land, because that's what you do. A king has his property. The king has his land. He has his own cattle, his own everything. And so we have been moving towards that, to have that. Because if you look at anything biblical, or you look at anything in your life, the Father spoke everything to existence. When he prayed over his children, he prayed blessings. And so when I pray over my kids, I pray blessings. Like, do you understand that you're a king? Yeah. Okay. Do you understand what that means? That you are not like everyone else. So you need to hold yourself at a higher caliber. When you speak to other men, you need to speak to them with respect and honor. When you speak to women, you need to respect and honor. So you got a 7-year-old that will talk to you like a 20-year-old, because that's the way that a king speaks. A king doesn't come into a room and go, like, that doesn't happen in our house. Like, you talk like that, and we're like, what are you doing? Like, we don't, like, use your words. Like, and I just corrected him immediately. I was like, kings don't talk like that. Like, I don't yell at my son. I have no problem reprimanding my son or punishing my son or disciplining him, but I don't yell at my son, because I always tell him, no one, not even me, should yell at you. Kings don't get yelled at. They get spoken to. So if I can't speak to another man, then I shouldn't, if I'm mad at you and I yell at you, I'm not going to ever get through you. But if I came to you and said, hey, Eric, man, like, you yesterday at practice, man, you said this and it like really bothered me and I just wanted to approach you, you would be so receptive. Like, dude, I didn't even realize, my apologies, man. You know what? I'll never say it again because I didn't realize it bothered you. And it's the end of it. You don't even feel weird. You don't feel like I challenged you. I came to you as a brother. That's how a king approaches stuff. And so that's how my son approaches things. And so in my household, I'm the king of my household. My wife is the queen. You don't question my queen. You don't ever question her. If she speaks, everyone listens. But she doesn't challenge me, and I don't challenge my wife. Because if my wife feels in our household that she needs to speak, she speaks. And we all listen. Why? Because that's the way a unit works. My household doesn't work in a sense of, well, when dad's gone, we get away with X, Y, and Z. But if dad's home and mom's gone, we get away with this. Me and my wife are on a front. That A, B, and C is not okay. A, B, and C will get you a butt whooping if I'm here or not here. And so, going further now into the companies, over the past 2 years, we started a company called Absolute Aid. I don't like taking anything synthetic. Anyone who's ever known me, like, I don't take Advil, Tylenol. I will just like, your knee hurts, cool, stretch. Like, I didn't know that CBD, marijuana was like a kind of like a healing plant. I didn't understand that. I didn't know what that meant. And I grew up thinking it was a drug my whole life. And so here I am, being a kid that's straight edge, like no drugs, no alcohol, no promiscuous sex, all this is my life, finding out that like all the prescription things that you get from doctors and what you get at Walmart or CVS or Walgreens are synthetic drugs. They are made in a laboratory. Or you can take this cream that comes from a plant and it does exactly what Tylenol does. And I'm going, wait, what? So this is all natural. Does it get you high? No, it doesn't get you high. Well, what does it do? Dude, come on, man. I saw a thing when I was a kid. This is your brain on drugs. Like, I don't want my brains on drugs. They're like, no, you can't even OD. Like, this is not a drug. Like, this is a natural Advil. This is Advil. You take 10 of these, you're dead. And I was like, he goes, you take 10 of these, you just go to sleep. And in a few hours, you wake back up. And so my brain started like thinking like, oh, maybe I should dive into this. And so the further I dove in, the more I was like, this could really help. And we started this whole fighting thing, jiu-jitsu, and I'm going, man, my body is going through it. And so this started giving me better sleep. It started helping me with my appetite. It started like I was bouncing back faster. Like right now, I'm not going to do it on the camera, but like I can squat down to my knees and get back up without pain. Just to like squat down and pick something off the ground was like, you can ask my wife, that was rough to just get down on one knee just to stand back up. Like, I shouldn't have these issues. Like, this is not okay. Like, I have not taken care of myself. There's so much inflammation in me. To my partner, James Appleton, I call him James Appleton in the flesh. When we started Absolute Aid together, it was Christmas 2 years ago. We were just talking on the phone and Seek to Do More came up. That's how that was started. About every single day, you should better yourself. 1% better in all of your aspect of life. That you should have a hobby that makes you happy. That you should do something physical. And people are like, oh, does that mean you need to go to the gym 7 days a week? He's like, dude, that's not good for your body. You're like, did we say the gym? Well, can't you just, grab your wife's hand and go for a walk? That's still getting momentum. That's still movement. That's a workout. Go for a 10-minute walk. Why can't you do that? Why can't you just stand in one spot and do, I dare you, stand in one spot and do 5 minutes of jumping jacks. You won't make it 5 minutes. There's a workout, 5-minute workout. You don't have time to do that, but you have time every single night to watch Netflix. Like, stop watching Netflix and get healthy. And then it turned into, well, you should be doing something spiritual every day. You should be, like, this is how the company started. And James took it and just opened up Pandora's box to, we should be these six daily things, to now we're about to launch the 2.0 version, and it's 7 daily things that we do. We have a group text that we have a team together now that every day we challenge each other to do something. Today was text 3 people that you haven't spoke to in a while and reconnect with them, because friendships mean something, and be genuine about it. You don't want anything from them. Just see how they're doing. Tell them that you're proud of them. Like, what have you been doing? What did you accomplish last week? Man, that's so awesome. Like, being there for people, because everybody in the world, you can't tell me that no one doesn't want to become something. Like, you just want to be a loser that sits on the couch and plays video games? No, I want to be good at video games. Oh, so you do want to be something. You want to be good at video games. You see how it quickly changes? So everybody wants to do something, but what are you doing to become that? And so that's where everything for all of our companies started changing. That Absolute Aid is CBD for athletes. Because, like, I get after it every single day. James gets after it every single day. Everyone we know is doing some kind of, like, jogging, walking, or hitting weights every single day. And we have product to help you with your recovery so you can get your ass back out there and do it again tomorrow. And you'll feel like you did today. Then Seek to Do More is the mental fortitude that's going to help you become a better reader, better writer, a better man, a better woman, to healthy in every aspect. Because we tell you, find a diet and follow it. You need help with the diet? We'll give you a diet. You need a workout plan? What kind of workout plan are you looking for? I don't have any weights. I don't have the money to afford a gym membership. Cool. Here's 7 workouts that you can do, 7 days of workouts. One of them is walking. Oh, yeah. Do 2 laps around your block. Just walk. That's a workout. Did you get your body moving? Yeah. Then that's a workout. What does that do? That strengthens your legs. That strengthens your muscles. That's getting your tendons back to where they should be. Like, walking every day is what got me back on the freaking mats. I mean, my wife's behind me. Like, she could tell you, like, that was a real thing. I could only walk to the park that was at the end of our road, which is a football field away. That was enough. I had to walk there and sit because it hurt my back. Within 2 weeks, I was walking over a mile out, mile back. Totally fine. That was our daily thing as a family. We all went for a walk and we loved it. It became a thing for us because your family wants to bond. But then, because when you start to make those changes in your life, it starts to gravitate other people like that. So that's kind of like the whole thing. Like, I started making these changes, but I wasn't satisfied yet. And then the spiritual walk to my hobby walk, reading. What kind of books are you reading? Are you filling your mind with Harry Potter? Or are you filling your mind with better business ideas, or like how to market, or how to grow a business or how to start a business, laws of owning a business? Like, what are you trying to do in your life? Like, you don't have to own a business, but like, what are you doing? And learn about it. You want to learn about Your hobby is you want to be a woodcrafter? Well, okay, well, what are you doing to do that? Pick up a book and read. Watch YouTube for 30 minutes and take notes. Guess what? That 30 minutes, you just checked off a box. I only have 15 minutes today. Cool. Watch a 12-minute video. You still learned how to chisel whatever you're in. Like there's so many things out there to do it. And so that's kind of like where the Seek to Do More thing started. It was just something that me and him were like, how are we going to grow this business right? And when we started talking to all of our mentors that are worth anywhere from 5 million to $500 million, every single one of them had daily routines that they did every single day. It didn't matter what it was, they did it every day. And you will never be able to stop them from doing their routine. And it's funny, the routine was spiritual, whatever that meant to them, like either it was meditation, prayer, Bible reading, like whatever it was, they do spiritual every morning. They read one of their books. They read a business style book. Then they go do a workout, walking, treadmill, something. Don't you think that's kind of strange? Those are the things that we started realizing. And we're like, where's the program that someone did for this? Oh, we did 75 hard. Well, 75 hard, after you do it, it's kind of done. This is something like I'm on day like 250 and everyone's like, well, your partner's at like 600 something. I was like, me and James started at the same time. I told James that February 1st of this year, I was going to start over with everybody. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, come February 1st, it's going to be day one. And whoever wants to start that day, I'm going to restart. That one of the owners is doing it with whoever wants to be involved. And so that was what I did. James, I told James, don't start. You just keep going. Like you're the head, you're the face. It was more so James' creation. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, am I an owner? Am I part of it? Yeah, absolutely. But it was more so James is like birth child. That conversation he brought up that me and him molded, but it's James' creation. And it's amazing to see what has been a conversation that him and I have had multiple times turn into the Seek to Do More, company. Now it's a 30-day recalibration. Now it's, the wording has changed because it's not really a program. It's like a journey. The journey never stops. It takes 30 days to recalibrate. Now, how long can you go? Now it becomes fun. How many days have you done jiu-jitsu, right? And you said, I can do it 2-3 days a week. Well, my thing is 7 days a week because I can. I set a goal that I wanted my blue belt in 1 year because I heard that it was possible. I didn't know that it's supposed to take 2 years. No one told me that. I was just told you could do it in a year. So I said, so I worked my ass off and I just kept showing up and I got it in, I think it took 12 months. I want to say 11 to 12 months. So it's like, I did it. And I was really proud of myself. Like I did that. No one else did. And it's like, I don't think that a lot of people take their wins either because they want to be so humble. And it's like, that's where the dog comes out too. Like Eric, you went on the mats. I didn't. You did. You should be standing freaking proud on a damn mountain screaming, like puffing your chest up. Like you freaking did that, not me. You want to get on the mat every single day. You get on there and push yourself, not me. It's you. It's you against you. If you did bad, it's because you did bad, not me. I wasn't there. Alex doesn't train with you. So it's like, these are the things that people the whole Seek to Do More thing is more so about. It's you. You made the goals, not me. I'm just going, are you still doing it? Nah, man, why? What's going on? What do you need? Like, let's push each other. Like, like our slogan is not a bitch. Like, stop being a little bitch. Stop making excuses. Like, get out there and do it. Your kids are watching you. Oh, yeah, when it gets hard, I just stop. There's my dad, he sits on the couch. Fuck that noise. The easy road is never the good road. I'd rather find the hardest freaking road you can find. I will be the one on the other side waiting for your ass. Because I'm going to be that junkyard dog you don't know. I'm the one you want on your side. That's what I always tell people. Like, what is your end goal? I just always tell them I want to be a threat. And they're like, Like to fight? No. Threaten everything. I want to be the best friend that you've never had. I want to be the father you look at and be like, that's a dude. If you ever have a question about being a dad, that's the dude. If you want to see good kids, his kids. You want this, I want to be a threat. You need a business partner? Gotcha. You need investment? Gotcha. I want to be a threat. I want to walk into a room and everyone goes, that's the man you need to meet. That's the good guy. That's the honorable one. That's when I feel like I'll win. And I feel like I'm slowly getting there. I'm becoming a better man every day. Like, do I have my faults? Have I failed in my marriage? Have I failed? Oh, absolutely, I failed. But it takes a real man to acknowledge, like, to stand in front of your wife 5 years ago and look at her and going, I failed you. And I know I have. And I don't know what I can do to change it, but I'm going to. And I'm going to make the first step today. And she's looking at me like, okay. And every day I made a change. Every day I looked at myself. Am I better than my yesterday? And so here I am, like, on a podcast with you talking about this stuff. And it's like, I have never talked about what I just did. It's like, it's not fun to look at people and be like, yeah, I failed. I made my wife look stupid multiple times when she's amazing. And I'm over here being a piece of shit. You know, that's not fun. That's not something to be proud of. It's embarrassing. But what I'm proud of is the fact that I can state it, and I've done everything in my fucking power to stop that man. That's who I keep out there. I've killed that man. That man's dead and buried. He'll never come back again because I'm not okay with it. That's not a man I want my kids to be. That's not a man that a big one is this. I have a daughter, and my wife wrote me in 2015 and said, are you the man that you want your daughter to marry? That's all she needed to say. Like, am I the man? If today that man would have approached me, hell no. I would have said, no. Can I marry your daughter? No. But the man I am today, the man I am right now, 100%, I would say yes. Because I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. I know what I'm fighting towards. And I would support this man. And that makes me proud. You know, and it's like, do I feel that my sons look at me like that? Yes. Do I feel that I can always be better? Yes. Do I feel like I showcase that my wife is a queen? Yes. But then the same thing goes for her. Is she the woman that she needs to be for my daughter? Is she representing herself as the woman that she wants my sons to be with? What is she representing? But then that challenges both of us. The way that I approach her is soft, but just. I'm kind but assertive. And so it's a hard balance. But you know what? Real men and kings are fine to fight forward, taking the ones to the chin, going, yeah, you know, I messed up. I will do everything in my power and never let that happen again. And it takes a real woman go, yep, we got this, moving forward.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you know, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I appreciate everything that you said. And before we wrap on this episode, you know, is there people who want to get invested in what you're doing? Where do they go to find you?
Absolute8.com. And you can add me on Instagram at AlexWOA and hit me up. I control all my social media, all the businesses. And if you would like to join the Seek to Do More recalibration, there's seektodomore.com, and there's also Seek to Do More on Instagram. And we would love to get more people involved in that. I mean, that is something that we are sharpening men and women all around the U.S. right now, and to see what they are already doing. We had a gentleman join, and he's been doing this for 70 days now. It might be 90. And he told us that he wanted to do this marathon run, right? And he was training for it, just said that this is what he wanted to do. Well, on Saturday, he ran 36.7 miles because he said he wanted to, and he pushed himself and he did it. That's what it's about. Another girl named Sarah Williams, she jumped in and she had this, I want to do this 6-hour endurance test. That was one of her goals. And guess what? She did it and blew it out of the water because she made the goal, and she had a community going, easy. This is what you train for. That's what I told you about jiu-jitsu. Stop worrying about what can happen. Worry about, what did I say? What you know. Just go in there, do what you know, and play your game. Remember? That's what I kept telling you. Play your game. It doesn't matter what they know. Play your game. Don't be frantic. Set your pace. Grab the grips that you know. If you don't know those grips, don't grab those grips. You don't know those grips. If you get nervous, get to your side. Like, these are the things that go through my mind. And it's, I mean, jiu-jitsu is, dude, you can compare jiu-jitsu to everything. You want to pump the gas, dude. Jiu-jitsu is like pumping gas, man.
Grips. Well, I'm going to be going to jiu-jitsu tonight. It's a hard word to say. Sometimes I feel drunk when I'm saying it.
Yes.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
But after this, I'm going to take my daughter's pumpkin patching at our special little location. So I'm going to go put in some quality time with them. And then tonight, I'm going to go take my licks and bring in that calm, more mature grappler that I'm becoming, that we're all kind of striving to become on this journey, as you said. And I agree that I'm writing my own modern myth, as my language is mythology, yours is mythology as well in certain ways. So I appreciate that synergy, but I really appreciate the time. And as always, until next time, dream well, my friends.